everybody. Happy Earth Day. So welcome to St. Gabriel's Facebook Live event. I'm Mrs. Webble. I teach lower school art and middle school ceramics, and today I'm going to show you how to turn this t-shirt into a ball of yarn that you can do a lot of fun stuff with. First off, you need a pair of fabric scissors. These are my personal favorites. These work as well too. Again, they need to be sharp fabric scissors and just a t-shirt. So the first step is to cut off the arms and the seams. So you want to work on a flat surface like a floor or a table. Cutting across under the arms, making sure your layers are right on top of each other. So I just cut this off. And now I'll cut this seam on the bottom. So you are just going to use the tube, like the torso of the t-shirt. And save your scraps. You can use these too for other projects. And this is probably the only tricky part here, and it is folding your t-shirt over so there is just 1 inch remaining, 1 inch sticking out. From the center of that shirt, you can begin cutting across, and you want to cut strips that are about 1 inch wide. Don't worry if your cuts are a little jagged. Our final step will take care of any messiness. Okay, so you can see it in progress here. And you want it to end up looking like this. All right, just cutting across, taking your time. This can be done with t-shirts, with logos, with seams. I think the ideal shirt though is an extra large plain shirt with no logo. If there is a logo, it's really just a difference, like this one here, right? It just kind of adds a different quality to the yarn, but sometimes it makes it kind of crimp up or, behave differently. The seam can be a little bit of a road bump too, but look at it like it's a difference. But again, a large, extra large men's shirt with no seam is ideal. But I've been experimenting with some of my children's tank tops that have ribs, that kind of thing, and that can be fun too. All right, I'm nearing my final strips. It's kind of repetitive, so just go with that, enjoy it. And how wonderful it is to use this shirt for something else creative. We have Miss Wynn here, and I was just sharing with her a surprising fact before we came on about waste, specifically waste of clothing. And I was really surprised to find out that the average American in 1 year throws out 81 pounds of clothing, and that equals 26 billion pounds in the landfill. And 95% of that could have been reused and recycled. So we're doing our part. when we're making t-shirt yarn. So this is what it looks like here. I'm gonna let it fall now. You can see that, you know, it's like a little hula skirt, you know, or shark gills. It is a tube cut, but then I have this inch here at the top. Now, the next step, after I've done these inch wide cuts, is to put it on my arm to cut. Now, I'm a right-handed cutter, so I would put it on my left hand, and I'll do that in a moment. But as I was looking online of different ways people make these, I noticed one person actually opened it up on the table, which I thought was pretty cool too. So, you know, there's two different ways to do it. You can open it up on the table and do the diagonal cuts I'm about to show you, or you can put it on your arm. I think I'm gonna put it on my arm just because that's the way I like to do it. And also you'll see it better. So I'm opening it up so that inch is going to be on my arm. It's good to wear short sleeves when you do this, so you don't actually accidentally make the shirt you're wearing into t-shirt yarn if you don't want it to be. And, oh wait, I had one out of place. Let me start again. And I always tell my students, I love it when I make a little mistake during our demo, because then they make one and they realize, wow, even the teacher makes mistakes sometimes. Okay, so this is pretty cool in itself. This could be a costume for a bird or something. And you will now start to make the end or beginning of your yarn. You want to start at your hand because it's going to be falling off that way. You know, it can't fall off that way. So I will create the end. And now this is fallen, and you can see that I am just fluidly cutting and it's falling. Again, if you have these little places where it's not cut perfectly, don't worry about it. I think part of the charm in making this too is you knowing that you made it yourself, and you know, we're not robots, so everyone's is gonna look a little different. I've done this a lot, and even every one that I make, you know, still is different. All right, I'm in my final cuts. Remember, they're diagonal, because if I just cut straight across, it would be a tube. We're turning this single t-shirt into, you know, one ball of yarn. So it's all connected. All right, there we go. So now I have this jumble here, and I've got two more steps. I'm gonna find the end here. Trying not to tangle it. And you'll curl your yarn now. Now there's two ways to curl. I've always done it this way. However, you know, once again, you go online and people do things differently. So it's always fun to see how other people do things. I do it like this, you know, like it's Christmas time and you're, you know, curling ribbon. Your hands can get a little hot from friction, maybe, okay? So I'm just gonna keep doing it the way I like, and then I'll show you the other way. So you can see the difference here. You know, this is really kind of thin and curled, you know, and this is still kind of fat. And when it's curled, you don't see any little discrepancies in width. Oh. Makes a lot of yarn, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool. All right. So here I have my yarn, and you know, you can see the difference. This is, oh, that one's not cut. Here's one that hasn't been curled, and here's one that has. Now there's one other way to curl the yarn, and if you are a parent watching this and you don't want your child to handle these sharp scissors, this would be a great time for them to step in. And once you have your strips, this is a scissorless way to curl. If you have a knit t-shirt, you pull it and it curls itself. So that's pretty cool. Scissorless way to curl. So you can see the difference here in the curled and the uncurled, and how much, you know, nicer that one looks. So our final step, you know, this is a jumbled mess. So we will now turn it into something that we can store nicely. You'll just roll it up. So I like to open my fingers a little. You don't want to cut off your circulation. After you have a nice little cylinder, you can turn it again. This is one of my favorite parts. And if we have any cats watching, cats love to play with these too. So this is quite a great ball of yarn, isn't it? And turning it once again. And there we go, voila, nice. A ball of t-shirt yarn. I've made some out of white shirts here, right, any color, any size. This is yarn that I bought, but you really can't tell the difference. Mine looks just as great. And, you know, again, I don't recommend a logo because it can kind of break apart, but you know, it can also add interest, like this one here. Finally, what do you make with this t-shirt yarn? My favorite thing to make is this circular weaving here. This is t-shirt yarn. You wrap it around the hula hoop. It's gonna end up having an even number, which doesn't work with weaving. It needs to have an odd number to go over, under, and be placed one on top of the other. So you then combine it. So you have an odd number. So see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? And then in the center, you tie a little knot, and then you just go over, under, right? And this is something my first graders already know how to do. They're weaving on CDs. My fourth graders over and under, and then do a U-turn. My second graders too. So this is a fun way to use your t-shirt yarn. And another way is a chair fidget. So I simply used the bottom, you know, at the very beginning when we cut off that seam right here, I just doubled it up and stuck it around the chair. And so, you know, if you're a child working at home, distance learning, and you need to kick your feet a little bit, just put this around the strap of your chair, around the legs of your chair, and it might help you out a little bit. I've also seen these chair fidgets with braided t-shirt yarn. I simply just use the seam though. Well, thank you for joining me today, and check out the other Earth Day events at St. Gabriel's this week. Take care.